tashar Sunna TV.
Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wal 'asr innal insana lafi khusr إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Amma ba'd. My brother Dr. Bashir, the chairman, other distinguished brothers and sisters on the high table, my brothers, my colleagues from various parts of the country attending the 80th Islamic Vacation Course here in Abubakar Tatari Ali Polytechnic, Bauchi in Bauchi State. I greet you once again with the best form of greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Indeed, we have to accept that truly the time we have remaining may not be enough for us to extensively cover the topic of discussion. The Muslim Student Society of Nigeria Organizing Committee of the 80th Islamic Vacation Course sent me an invitation to speak on the topic of organizing and strengthening agriculture as a pillar with respect to the building of the Ummah. Alhamdulillah, myself and my team, because I don't work alone, from Sokoto, we have done so much to address the topic. But while I was on a journey, I gave a second thought because I'm part of MSS. I've been in MSS for long. And I know when I was like you. And today in IVCs, you find some children that we can classify as our grandchildren. For that purpose, I felt that topic should be reserved for another day and for another discussion. Rather, why not we reprint the topic, reawakening Muslim students on agriculture as a pillar in mitigating challenges of food security and economic development. Because in it, I just want to address maybe about 10 issues, and then I left you with the rest to discuss. My concern is also because I've been in agriculture since when I finished even before I finished my secondary school. And all my studies, except of recent, are on agriculture or irrigation engineering. And that have given me the opportunity at the national level and at state level and even at international level to have taken some courses on agricultural development. So I think I have had some little experience. Maybe that's why I'm giving this topic. I attended 2 courses in Israel on agriculture. And throughout the country, I've been the secretary of the Transforming Irrigation Management in Nigeria under the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. And I've also read agriculture and community development and rural development as a field of study, apart from other courses. But truly, it pained me whenever we talk about agriculture. It pains me a lot because when I finished my studies, I was also project manager of one of the largest or second largest irrigation scheme in Nigeria, in Bakalori in Zamfara, and later I moved to Wara in Kebbi State, and later in Bagudo in Kebbi State, and then back to Bakalore again. And I've served in almost all the committees in Zamfara and in Kebbi and Sokoto State in revamping agriculture. So the issue is not to discuss what the governor should do or what the president should do. I think at MSS level here, what matters is to address on us, to address ourselves on what can we do. Is to address ourselves on what can we do. If we continue here to speak and make takbir and then condemn the government or condemn whosoever in power, that will not change the scenario. That will not change the situation. But what you and I can do, then definitely it can now make a change. And Allah will see our hearts, and then He make it possible for us to achieve the food security we are aiming at, because إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. And in Islam, my understanding is you cannot speak لِمَ تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ كَبُرَ مَقْتًا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَن تَقُولُوا. So in my mind, I have studied, I've seen, I've come across thousands of farmers, thousands of elderly, thousands of youth, thousands of male, thousands of female. But the problem is we have a great attitudinal issues that first of all we need to address. And in my mind, we have to translate it, we have to start addressing it from our younger age. Let me give you what the experts said about Nigeria. If there is focus, especially in agriculture, I want to prepare your mind. Nothing can be designed as it is and to be achieved. As an engineering student, I know you provide errors, and in construction, you may make certain changes. So everything in the world, it is only what Allah wishes to be that will be the way He wants it to be. But minus that, any other thing else, no. It can be if Allah wishes it to be, and it may not be if Allah does not wish it to be. So focus is knowledge. And we should agree with knowledge. And let me give you an example, because if you are talking of agriculture, there are so many chapters of the Quran you have to address. But some of them, that even though I didn't write it, but you all know it, if we take Surah Al-Yusuf, and when Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam was in the jail, Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, two people had a dream, and they come to him for translation translation. Now, the translation which they were asked, the translation which he was asked to do for the king. We all remember about the 7 cows that eat up the other 7 cows. And that is when the issue of agriculture and the post-harvest management was derived. And Anabi Yusuf was expert, alayhi salam, to come up with the methodology of storage and harvesting. There is no time we would have recited some verses which you can all remember, for those of you who memorize or who have read Surah Al-Yusuf. So he now forecasted there is going to be 7 years which you will have abundant food, and there will be another 7 years that you will have scarcity. So save what you have to take care of the period of capacity. Is this not planning? Is it not planning? Is it not on agriculture? So it means if some expert says this thing is going to happen, likely, then agree. It may happen, it may not happen. It can only happen when God wishes. But normally, when there are forecasts, it also happened. For example, apology if this woman did not look so good for the presentation. Basically, both human beings and animals living on earth require food as basic need for survival. Am I right? Yes. In this camp, when food was not stable for the last 2 days, was it fine? No. But today in the morning, was it fine? Yes. You can now see. So, the primary source of food that both human beings and the animals are essentially in need to survive is unanimously being secured through the natural and artificial agricultural practices around the world. Number 2, historically, before the oil discovery in Nigeria, Nigerian economy depends solely on farming. But later, the productivity of farming for economic development gradually became neglected, which in turn causes food insecurity in the nation. Even when there is food, there is difficulty in purchase because of the purchasing power. Do you know that in this Bauchi state there is a meat factory? Did you ever hear about that? Here in Bauchi, if you bring a cow, there is a place you will keep the cow. The cow will go into stages where the cow will be washed, where the cow will be slaughtered, where the cow will be the skin, where the cows will be divided from the bone and flesh, where every other thing of the cow will be separated. And the cow's end product will be the naman gongwani. But even some of you here in Bauchi did not even hear the story, talk less of seeing the company. The factory is here, right here in Bauchi. But it's not working. It has stopped working before some of you were born. I am buttressing my point of neglect. And I give you just an example here in Bauchi. Listen. According to Food and Agricultural Organization, almost 700 million people around the globe are living in extreme hunger. And the situation is gradually getting worse, as 840 million people have been estimated to fall into hunger. This is as far as 2030 projection is concerned, and we have to. It's just like you have met Nabi Yusuf and told him that this is what is likely going to happen. Now, none of us can be Nabi Yusuf, but we take the lessons from the Quran, which Allah has given us to see what do we do. Kar mutu ya ce ƙarya ne ko an ce ana wani ƙarya ne, ai Allah ɗaya sani. Ilimi akwai abin da an ka sani. Dan yanzu ba ka layan ka auna ka an ka ce in ba a cire maka shi ba kana mutuwa jibi. Za ka yadda a yi maka hida, ha a sai da gonarka da ta tudu da ta rahi, don a biya kuɗi a yi maka operation don kakka je lahira. Haka ne? So, now look at the issue of the global challenge again. The global population, according to the United Nations estimates, is 8 billion as of 2023, featuring about 0.8%, an increase of the 2022, which is 7.9 billion. So Food and Agricultural Organization estimated that by the year 2050, there is need to produce 60% increment of global food production to meet the global population demand of 9.3 billion. Ku tsaya ku ji akwai iji dole bai kin gani, haka ne? So let's not argue. Let's do what we are supposed to do. Whether it will be reality or it will not be reality, by 2050, how many of us will be alive? We don't know. Only Allah knows. But do we wish bad for those coming behind us? Okay. Now, I would also want you to know that there was a research that posted that most of the people in northern Nigeria are living in extreme poverty and lacking in the basic necessities to maintain a decent standard of living, which is sufficient and nutritious. As the population is increasing, the food demand is rising, necessitating to embracing the agricultural practice for all and sundry, including you, in order to provide sufficient quantities of food to meet the increasing domestic demand of you and I. Therefore, I'm rushing the slides that on our part, I was addressed as the Executive Chairman of Sokoto Zakat and Wakaf Commission. My team are here. We are more than 30 attending IBs. And most of them are graduates of agriculture in various fields. We started brainstorming, what can we do at our own level to help the ugly situation? Because now it's a matter of working, not too much discussion. So we came up with some ideas. Some of them is what we call, I'm only trying to give you an example, I'm going back to my topic, is the issue of agricultural programs we initiated that are called ZESBOK. Do you know what ZESBOK is? You don't know what is ZESBOK. ZESBOK is a tree worker plantation that we termed Zakat and Endowment Student Volunteer Committee. 2, we have what we call ZVOK. ZVOK are not in the school, but they are the same. What they are, Zakat and Endowment Youth Volunteer Committee. 3, we have what we call KASBO. KASBO means K-A Kaza, B-O Zabu, K-A, that is KASBO, Kaza Zabu. Now, we will explain. If some of you can see the slides from far, inshallah, you'll be able to understand what I mean. Later, I will make some explanations. And I wish that if you have WhatsApp group, you can share this paper in the WhatsApp group so that everybody, I cannot print about 21 copies here. Some of them have it here, you can photocopy. But if you have the soft copy, you can print it anywhere you are. All what we are giving, you can study it, expand it, and even do better. What we are after is all of us to rise up to the challenge and deliver the best we can, and then we'll leave the rest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have others, what we call DPWI, that is Date Farm Wakaf Initiative. We have what we call Tree Wakaf for newly married couples. Some of the things I want you to do when you get married, after the walima, the next thing, you buy a tree, you plant one, your wife plant one. Allahu Akbar, tai amma alkawali nike so gare ku. When you do, lima taquluna ma la taf'alun. MSS da za ku ce mu zo a zo mutane su gyara, ku gyara daga kanku mana. Is it difficult to plant a tree? So if it is not now, take it, put it in your diary. Bai cikin lehe, bai cikin kayan gara, bai cikin kayan jinkira, amma yana cikin abin da in an gama walima za a yi celebrated. Ta shukka mata ka shukka mata. Ita ta shukka ma kai ka shukka mata. An gane? Yawa. Secondly, listen, tree worker for orphans' livelihood. Tree worker for newly born babies. Ku saurara. Wannan abin da ke faɗi duka, I mean it. Da ni da mutane na da annan ba wai faɗi muke ba, mun yi makanmu, mun wa uwayenmu, mun wa ƴan uwanmu. Kuma it's worth doing. Last 3 weeks we are in Jigawa. The Imam na 774 a Jigawa, Secretary Dr. Mahmud Yunus yake ba mu labari bayan mun hito daga masallacin shi a ran nan Malam Abdullahi Lamido ya ba da sallah yake ce mini malam na ce a Lawali dai ya ce ni din nan ya ce kaga babata can da aka haife ta an shuka mata dabino yana ɗaya ka ganta can ita ce babata ni da ta haife ni ta shuka min da dabino yanzu haka yana ɗaya gidanmu to kaga shi yana da hujja amma yanzu muna mutum nawa zai ɗaga hannun shi ya ce yana da dabino wanda ko yana da mangoro ko yana da kashu ko yana da kaɗanya ko yana da wani icce mai amfani wanda aka shuka mai lokacin da aka haife shi. Kuma zan ba ku misali, ana batun yunwa, ana batun yunwa, ana batun yunwa. Munan yanzu, ya salam, I have forgotten my bag. In this camp, na sai dabino. Nawa dabino yake? 100 naira a leda. Na ce a ƙirga guda 6. Wani ya ce nashi guda 6 da rabi. Ƙwayar dabino guda 6 da rabi. A shuwarin na sai kwanon dabino. Ina son in sai ma wanda muke tare da shi ya ci, na ce a bani na 300. Aka bani na 300 sai ban ƙwaya 5. Na ce mai dabino na 300 ne ce wallahi in ba don da ka sai in ba don da ka sai kwano ba mu ba da 300. To yanzu a kaddara shi yasa muka roki organizer lokacin da muna zaton ba zai yi ba, amma tun da akwai yaran mu in aka yi instruction every class a ba su just 10 minutes su ƙara bayani akan wannan for yaran da ke son su yi adopting irin wannan system. Because abin da sa muke cewa three waqaf for orphan livelihood, yanzu yaro dan haka karami shekara 5 ko 6 in baban shi ya rasu za a yi ta kuka a waye gari ana neman masa kuɗin da zai je makaranta. To da lokacin da aka haifai ko lokacin da baban ya rasu a shuka ƙwarar dabino 10, dabino na shi yasa muka zo muku da shi gaye ba wata wahala ba ce. Mu mun shuka haka da yake muka shuka shi a yanzu shekara 4 mun fara cin amfaninsa. So wacce in an shuka dabino sai an mutu. Mu mun ce ƙarya ne ga munan. Kuma za ku ga evidence. Listen to me. And in za a shuka wannan dabino, it only requires 5 meters a kani ko 6 ko 7 ko 8. Ya danganta ga space ɗin da akwai. Yanzu a wannan hall ɗin, idan gidanku ya girman wannan hall ɗin, za ka iya shuka dabino guda 20. Gehe kawai ba ciki ba. Gefe daga wannan kofar zuwa wannan window zuwa wannan window zuwa wannan window zuwa wannan window, in ka je haka ka dawo nan za ka yi shuka guda 20. Idan ka samu mata guda 10 a cikinsu kowannensu za su iya maka 100 kg. Mun yi lissafi buhun dabino yanzu da muke magana idan ɗan mali ne 240 yake. Idan targal ne ko ɗan agadas shi ne aka sai da kwanon shi 3,500 sau 40. Nawa kenan? 3,500 sau 40. In kana musu gani yanzu I'm ready in baka 3,000, in baka 1,000 guda na hawan mashin. Ka je ka so mini dabino kwano guda ɗan agadas ka so min 3,000 ko babal duka ta yi baka samu balle ka tsaya cikin Bauchi. So I think we need to look into this issue. This is what we mean by this, and then inshallah you will now find at the end of the lecture I will let you what we intend to do inshallah. Thank you very much. You can put them down. Wannan ɗaya ne daga cikin ma'aikatanmu daga hukumar zakka da waqafi wanda ya karanci agriculture, kuma we mean business in this part of waqaf inshallah. So the next thing, kamar yadda kuke gani harvest, that what you are seeing is one of our first harvest. Yes, that's one of our first harvest. Gashi nan we harvested it da kanmu. That's our director Waqaf, the Jan Hula, trying to harvest himself. Everybody appreciated. Amma yau gashi mun zo even cikin Bauchi muna ganin da binai babu gula, ba kula. Wai kaza tace yunwa ta kaji ta kwana bisa ga dame bata sani ba. Kun san dame? Don't worry. Listen. So this book is an abbreviation of what I've told you, and it's with the aim of inculcating this agricultural spirit as an avenue of attaining worldly gain as well as perpetual reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The program was designed to cover all boarding schools in the state, which we are on. In the program, the students were trained on how to plant and nurture economic trees that will eventually help them to cater with their educational responsibility. Because in Canada, when you have like even 5 stands, and each one of them only give you 50,000 naira per year, it means per annum you have 250,000 naira. Can't you invest that 250,000 naira as the economist? So why should we leave what we should do and start talking about what we cannot do? It is also important to know that the tree work up as a means of raising an economic tree or funding, you can't do it. You live in Abuja or you live elsewhere, you don't have time, but you can give money for it to be established by someone. So you can fund for the establishment of economic trees so that to use the yield or the benefit derived from the tree to charitable causes. It is an Islamic system of planting an economic tree for the purpose of socio-economic improvement of people and to protect their environment through sustainable use of resources such as tree, land, and water. It's not difficult. So ZECOM, which I led, or which I'm leading, is making effort to provide the tree workup as a vast field sector of agro-workup with numerous sub-sectors related to raising an economic tree for the charitable cause to improve the socio-economic and well-being of the populace. The subsector include district tree workup, as mentioned earlier, school orchard, which we want you to adopt, Moringa initiative, mega workup orchard, Sozekom nursery, value chain development, and lastly, tree workup empowerment for the rest of the society. Now we go to the benefit of tree. When we are talking of agriculture, tree is the most easiest because tree, Allah has mentioned tree in the Quran about 26 times. Dabino, dates, Allah has mentioned it 22 times in the Quran. So do research. Why did Allah mention them? Where and where? We cannot end up the research. But it's enough for you if you take this benefits of tree. Tree, it helps in the environment. Tree, it helps in economic development. Tree, it helps in nutritional. Tree, it helps in social. Tree, it helps in medicine. And tree, it also helps as we... These are some of the areas that the tree assists you. It is not the only areas, but there are. One can live, eat, and drink only with tree. And when you are tired, or when you need help, or when you are hungry, tree can feed you. That is why in Surah Al-Maryam, when she came, she delivered 50 to 60 years. 3 yana iya 100 kg per tree. You can transform it into this product. Tsamiya. Now, mun dawo mun tambaɗe babu tsamiya, babu soɓo, babu moringa, babu aduwa, babu magariya, babu kwame. Mun dawo Coca-Cola, Mirinda, Sprite, everything ga yana mun kumbure mun zama wani abu daban. We have to think, when Allah created us and He gave us these resources, the resources are not for just nothing. The resources are for us, for what we are, according to our weather, according to our skin, according to our feeling, according to our environment. That's how Allah ya ba mu waɗannan abubuwa. We should think of that. I'm only giving you some examples. Look at this one next. What is this? Moringa. What is moringa? So the simple thing I will tell you. In Zogale, all scientists of the world has established from the leaves to the trunk down to the root. Ba abunda bai da amfani na zogale. Everything of zangale is useful. So, amma if we ask how many of us are the iccen zogale a gidajensu? Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil. Now, a saurara, sallu al Nabi al-Karim. In kuka ba da haɗin kai, we run fast. Otherwise, lokacin sallah zai zo, sai dole mu aji. Next, if you look at the issue of zogale, even if you have it, did you make best use of it? I wish I have come. In the akwai lokaci, we have about 9 slides on zogale, on cashew, on tamarind, on date farm, when the muka develop it. Each one of them will tell you, Chia, we are losing a lot and relying on others. Common soft drink, you have to rely on somebody to bring you from somewhere else. So, the next opportunity for you, student, is the Kasbo. We are telling you what we have done. Kasbo, Kaza, Zabu. Kasbo Initiative agro-worker-based empowerment program targeting women folk, in which the beneficiary will be given a grant of local hens and guinea fowl eggs for hatching, and continues producing and rearing. The hen will hatch the eggs and secure a number of hatched guinea fowl, which is considered to be more marketable and expensive in our localities. After a period of time, the grown guinea fowl will be sold to purchase a goat, and then the goat will be reared enough to market it, to buy a sheep. Then from the sheep or a ram, you now transform to buying a cow, and then this is what we call kasbo. Kaza zabo. Ta haihi akuya. Akuya ta haihi tumaki. Tumaki sun ka haihi nagge. Nagge sun ka baka kudi da madara da nono ka ci ka sha kuma ka yi lalura gidanka. So, you can now see in next slice. Can you see? Kaza, zabo, akuya, rago, nagge. Kun ce shanuwa, mutanen Kano ka cewa shanuwa, ka san ba Hausa. Ce saniya ko shanuwa, wanda ya rubuta slides ya zo sa nagge za a sawa, nagge. So, nagge daɗi goma. And you can see how we engage women in it, how we transform. In the lokaci will give you some very good results. Every year we calculate how many eggs we give, how many hatches, how many chicken, how many zabo, and how many akuya, how many tunkia, and how many cow. Mutane mu na zakka, they can give you this. So we now go to neglected value chain. Ina hitan muna abin da mu mun ka watsar mai amfani gare mu ne. Saboda babu bukatar mu je muna magana wasu. Wannan ba aikin gwamna bane, ba aikin shugaban kasa bane Bola Tinubu. aikin muna da ni da kai da mun kake, don ba wanda hana mana kiwon kaza kuma ba wanda hana mana kiwon zabo. Amma ku dubi makarantar nan yau, ku duba duk inda muke ta yi haƙƙi busu-busu, ba a noma ba. Not only ta tare alli, duk makarantun nan mu an kaje haka suke. Raganci wani abin da amani in kai noma da ka zo ka shuka ka tahiyarka sai ranar girbi ka zo ka ɗiba ƙaryarka ba zai yi ba. So now on value chain, it is pertinent to note that Nigeria has been bountifully endowed with numerous global valued agricultural resources with so much post-harvest losses. These resources are obviously needed in most of the foreign countries. The foreigners usually come and buy the product at very cheap rate to go and process it, add value, and sell it at expensive price. These neglected agricultural resources include baobab tree, kwami, kuka, granite, gyada. We all know of the Kano pyramid of gyada. Sai duwan palm, goriba. Na je Malaysia ni gana sai da goriba 5 ringgit. Goriba. Goriba. Dates, dabino, sesame, riɗi, hibiscus, soɓo, tamarind, tsamiya da ire-irensu. Tomatoes, moringa, mango, milk and yogurt, cotton, cashew nut, yazawa. Wannan dubban da time ne da na zo muku da shi. Na yi ne gaba ɗaya zan zo muku har da issues ɗin hydroponics, amma ba lokaci. Saboda za ku ga riɗi yanzu a ce riɗin babu da riɗin naira 100. Babu yazawan cashew nut in ka je wajen Nasarawa da nan plateau in ka je sayen shi a bakin inda ake sayarwa dan kullin da aka yi maka 500 ko naira 1000 bai da yawa, don muna nan kwance muna kwana. So ya kamata mu canja. Wannan akuya da muka gani red akuyan nan tana ɗaya daga cikin akuya kwata akuya mahi daraja a duniya. Ita ce ake ce ma Moroccan leather, ita ce Italiyawa suke so. Amma ga muna inda mun yi su ko ita ɗai kawai za mu yi akuya don hata, ai da mun ci riba, mu ci nama mu ci riba. Amma ga wanda mun ka zama, to muna jiran gwamnati. To ina gaya muku in jiran gwamnati ne to jiran gawan shanu. Say livestock, look at it. Livestock denotes animals that are domesticated purposely for food, hides and skin production. They can also be referred to as food animals. The most commonly reared ones are cattle, goats, and sheep. The economic prosperity of rearing livestock are meat production, hides and skin, horn, hooves, and bone, manure production, domestic activities, transportation, as well as agricultural production. Naga Mala Abdullahi Lamido shine coordinator dinmu da muka samu sabuwar idea yanzu za mu yi business ɗin ƙaho da kohoto. Ƙaho da kohoto. Ka je ka yi googling horns and hooves ka gani. Go to Google and ask business on horn and hooves ka gani. Ka ga dukiyar da a cikin ƙaho da kohoto da ƙashi. Saboda ka bana in an kai layya muna son duk masu hankali su kula da kohoto da ƙaho da ƙashi. In an tara su kuɗi ne waɗanda dukiya za ta iya taimakon al'umma. A taimaki 'yan gudun hijira, ko a taimaki marayi, ko a taimaki zaurin ne, ko a taimaki tsofaffi marasa lahiya. Amma sai mu wai mu mun zama wani angali, hankali yana bi shi buwaye mu. To Allah ya saba mu haɗa irin inda Allah yake cewa kakku zama wala takunu kallazina nasallaha fa ansahum anfusahum. Allah ya tsare ba mu kai can ba. Sai poultry, babu lokaci isasshe, amma na san wani da can ya ga kan kaza fara mai kyau, kila ya yi tunani yau inda tana samuwa. Maybe to amma hankuri za ku yi. In kana son ka ciwo ga kaza kamar baban Mahir, kun gan shi na ma'aikacinmu ne. Ya yi masters a Uganda, kuma educational psychology ya yi. amma ga nan ya koma manomin mai kiwon kaji. Ku dibi jiki na ya lukui-lukui da nesa saboda ya ci kaza har ya ƙoshi. Wasu mu ko ba iyaka ƙiba su annan ba. In ka ga buroza ya koma ɗaya haka nan ya yi haka nan ya yi haka. Wallahi ba iyaka ta ɗaya nan ba. Ya yi kiyo ya ci harka ka ga wadda buroza zai koma. To, wala tansa nasibaka min ad-dunya wa ahsin kama ahsana Allah ilayk. Kuma kar mu mance da Allah ya ba mu waɗanga abubuwa don me, don mu ci mu yi muhimmi. Allah ya ce game da su waɗannan abin nan an'am wanda Allah ya ba mu. Saboda haka waɗanda abubuwan ne zana duk suna cikin dalilin da yasa Allah ya ba mu. Babu lokaci, ya kake so ka yi management na poultry ga shawarwari na mun bayas. Mu je ga next ga yanan sai agricultural input supply. Agricultural input supply yau in mutu ta kasuwa, in ba waɗanda a can kasuwa ba da lasfika suna ɗin asaye real magani da real takin zamani da real kayan aikin gona, in dai ba wanga na da na lauje da lauje da kwasa da sauransu, su ɗai mutane muka yi, amma duk sauran abubuwa mun ba wasu. To ku matasa aikin me kuke? What are you doing that is time for you to use the opportunity of the agricultural value chain? Even if you cannot go to the farm, you can be a businessman. Whatever it takes you, you can be a businessman in any of the agricultural products of your choice. Do that when you come to livestock, or when you come to Siri, if you go to Kasuwa Dawanau, you see the kind of people that buy food from Kano and take it somewhere. You know who they are. No time on this. We go to challenges of agricultural input supply. I leave it for you to read. Agricultural extension services. Here, I only want to re-emphasize that yara cewa you don't want to go and read agriculture is one of your mistakes. Saboda in the whole Bauchi, in an ka ce maka ba za a samu extension officer 50 ba, don't be surprised. Ba za a samu ba. Wa insha Allah malam ba za a samu ba. I am one of the trained extension officers. Kuma all states na arewa an yi lokacin da aka tara su gaba ɗaya abin da aka gare su ɗancin dahi ne. It's not enough. Not even enough. Has not even addressed 10% of our population. And Bauchi cannot be an exception. Even some of you, you majority are in the university, but the younger ones, if they are sent to Agric, they say they can't go to war college. Where Agric near war college. So I think you need to get up and do your best in propagating, because you can't propagate agriculture where you don't read agriculture. So you need that training before you could be able to do it. Then we leave that one. Extension is very important. It's one of the things I read. I'm an extensionist. So we now go to home and backyard production. Da yawan mu gidajenmu ciyawa sai ta kawo ga ruhin ɗaki. We fail to address the issue of ciyawa saboda ba mu iya shuka. To akwai home garden, akwai backyard garden, akwai hydroponics. A nan yanzu ina kama bakin kofar nan ina iya noma tumatirin da gidana muna iya amfani da shi for a month. Kuma on continued basis. So ina son a kula da wannan. So kuma yara ku yi ƙoƙarin nuna musu agriculture. Try to bring younger ones to understand agriculture and the dynamics in agriculture. Na duke tsohon ciniki ko zaka duniya ka yi taras. Next, from home garden, I now want to move to another before we come to recommendations. Akwai issue din beekeeping. Kiwon zuma. Wani ce kiwon zuma ai zuma za ta cinye ni, in aka yi za ta cinye, zuma akwai wadda ba ta cinye ka, kuma za ka zauna da ita lahiya lau gidanka ko gonarku, ko maimakon kwaɗan zuma da yanzu ta yi ƙarfin wani nan, sai dai a ‘yan mai ga cokali ya lasa, amma ya san ta yi ƙarfi ne bai da kuɗin sayanta. You can be keeping. Banda be keeping, akwai issue ɗin pigeon, tantabara. Do you know that this is money now? Tantabara akwai gurbin 15,000, akwai gurbi na 20,000, akwai na 30,000. Tantabara. How many of you ke kiwon tantabara anan? And you are talking baka da kuɗi, you are talking babu abinci, kana talking baka da kaza. Wannan ko a cikin ɗakinka ko a hostel ɗin a ɗakin kana aiki kiwon tantabara. Allah ya hore mana su. Kai ya kamata mu gode ma Allah, mu ce alhamdulillah. Sannan mu ce Allah mun tuba. Wallahi abin da muka yi bai da kyau. Yanzu kiwon tantabara wanda duk wanda a wurin yana aiki kiwon tantabara. To shine zai dawo ya ce wai yana jin yunwa. Yayi wata guda bai ci nama ba. Inda ka yi kiwon tantabara sai ka sai su aka so nama. In kuma kana so abin ka ci, akwai yan na lutsa. So, what is the reward? Listen, because an ce time yayi. An ce time yayi. Listen. A saurara. What is the reward? What is the reward of agricultural activities? Ga hadisi. A Bukhari, hadisi na 2,320. Manzon Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ya ce, there is no one amongst you, among the Muslims, who plant a tree or sow a seed, and then a bird or a person or an animal eats from it, but is regarded as a charitable gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Kun ji ko? Na biyu, ni ina so in tuna muku, Allah ya ce wa in min shay'in illa yusabbihu walakin la tabqahuna tasbihahu. Kenan da albasa da yalo da tantabara da akuya da dabino suna tasbihi ko ba su yi? In ka shuka su wa sanadi, kana samun lada ko baka samun lada? To kenan shi yasa ni ce mu ce astaghfirullah, saboda wannan dama da Allah ya ba mu yi amfani da ita ba, wallahi in mun ka bar duniya sai mun yi regret. So a ƙarshe, there are so many rewards here, I cannot lead them because of time factor. But allow me, organizers. That's why I wanted us to start very early. But unfortunately, we couldn't. Take these recommendations. One, listen. Ni ban je nesa fa, na tsaya ga abin da mu muka yi mu. One, every individual participant of this IVC should engage himself or herself and his family into home or backyard gardening, farming, and any kind of animal husbandry if possible. Two, available space in schools, offices, and some other abandoned areas and uncompleted houses must be used in cultivating one agricultural product or the other when the damana ta zo, rainy season. Three, students and youth like you should consider venturing into agricultural input supply and marketing as an enterprise. Four, there is utmost need for the formation of Zakat and Waqf school orchard volunteer committees across the country to help indigent Muslim students and the MSS branches in fund generation for your activities. Five, Abubakar Tatari Ali Polytechnic and the FGC Bauchi should right now allocate a piece of land so that we can allocate this date farm and let all IBC participants have their representative from state area unit to plant it as a demonstration plot to be anchored by Zakat and Waqf Commission of Sokoto as Community Development Project of MSS IBC 2023 in Bauchi. Number 6, individual plantation individual interested in plantation should contact Sokoto State Zakat and Endowment Committee through your leadership for possible guidance. We have about 1,000 seedlings. We came with them and we don't want to go back with them. We want to dash it to you as part of WAKAB and as part of Amr bil Ma'ruf. 7, MSS at all levels should create garden or orchard or plantation of higher valued economic trees in WAKAF system to be well maintained by the appointed committee with record keeping. Number 8, every participant to strive in his or her village to form youth volunteer agricultural corporate groups. Number 9, graduating youth or graduate among you should exploit agricultural projects or programs in their state or available at national level in order to be self-reliant and contribute to the national food security and economic development. Dr. Tilde, if you don't know him, ask Brabla Lamido, either he's in Bauchi or in Jigawa, and some of his likes are very good to help you in this sector. All intending youth farmers should contact the extension worker of their area before venturing into any agricultural program. Students going to tertiary institution to develop interest in agricultural value chain based courses. While Muslim Student Society of Nigeria at all levels should organize agricultural awareness activities at least once in a year. And I think you can do that. I'm sorry, time is ahead of us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Tashar Sunna TV.